Joining us now on the Window Nation Fan Guest Hotline, it's Jonas Shaffer. He covers the Ravens for the Baltimore Banner. Jonas, what's going on?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Not bad, man. Happy Friday to you. And last night we saw the Hall of Fame inductees for this year named, and it's Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, and Roger Craig. Left off of that list, two Ravens with Terrell, Suggs, and Marshal, Yanda. Any surprise that these guys didn't get in this time around? And when, if ever, do you think their number will be called?
Yeah, I think my best indication of just how competitive this is happened last year when you had Luke Kuechly, who obviously got in last night, arguably the best linebacker of the 2010s, like at least 5 first-team All-Pros, I think. And if he's not getting in on the first ballot, then that gives you a sense for guys who I think, you could reasonably say are lower down the list, like a Terrell, Suggs, like a Marshal, Yanda, wouldn't be getting in on the first ballot as well. So it's not surprising that, if Luke Kuechly is getting in the second ballot, that those guys might have to wait for a third ballot. I think the sign that they were, all in the top 7, I believe, of the modern era finalists probably bodes pretty well for their chances next year. But you look at who's coming onto the ballot next year, and I'm sure it's going to be the same kind of phenomenon every year after that, where it's like, man, there are heavy hitters retiring every year, which means that when they get eligible, that crowd stays pretty crowded. So I would like to say that at least one of Suggs and Yanda will get in next year. I think eventually they will both get in, but with how complicated the process is and how competitive it is, with needing 80% of the votes from a very, very stacked field, it is just a situation where from year to year, you can't really pencil anyone in like you used to be able to.
Hey, Jonas, do you anticipate Eric getting any deals done prior to the start of free agency, thinking about Lindenbaum or Lamar, basically?
Yeah, I think Lamar is the big shoe to drop here, and I think I hope that it is impressed on him just how important he is to the rest of the whole operation here. So, obviously, like Steve said, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago at this point, if they don't get a deal done, they can just restructure his deal with a simple, cap restructure, and then that would still give you more time to figure out, the runway for a possible extension, and that would also give you the leeway that you need to sign a Tyler Linderbaum. But it wouldn't surprise me if, no inside information here from the agents or anything, but like if they were able to get a deal done with some of the lower level guys, like, getting Charlie Kohler, someone who could really be an asset for this team with the amount of outside zone that I think we expect them to run next year. I think you need that inline tight end, and maybe that's Pat Ricard, but I think Charlie Kohler probably gives you a closer approximation of what Cole Kmet, for instance, offered the Browns last year. So I think there is a lot of deals that could get done, but as we all know, Lamar is the Jenga piece that is the most important one here.
We're talking to Jonas Shaffer, who covers the Baltimore Ravens for the Baltimore Banner. It's Vinny and Haynie on 105.7 The Fan. And Jonas, like you mentioned, Lamar is going to be a big part of what the Ravens are able to do or not able to do this offseason, considering his contract would give them some financial relief if they are able to kind of renegotiate that deal. How different do you expect the Ravens to approach this offseason, though? We've heard Eric DeCosta and these guys talk about, the bad taste that this season has left in their mouth. Do you think that we're going to see them break tendencies and maybe do something that we're not accustomed to seeing them do?
Yeah, I think probably I guess you could say that it would be a tendency breaker for them to trade for a big name.
Max Crosby.
There you go. Max Crosby and A.J. Brown. Who knows who's out there? Because, let's be real, the Ravens have some cap space currently. They'll have more cap space if they get a deal done with Lamar, but they still don't have the top dollar cap space that other teams around the league do, especially with the cap jumping another, $25 to $30 million. So I think it's probably a situation where you are willing to part with draft capital, which is something that Eric DeCosta typically doesn't do. I think my hesitation with Max Crosby would be because I just don't see Eric giving away multiple first-round picks to get someone like that. I think it's probably more in line with his appetite to, maybe give up a second-round pick and a little bit of a sweetener to get someone like A.J. Brown, if that's really all it takes, plus, the cap space that you would need to get him on your roster. So I still think I am of the belief that, the Ravens don't really have the tools or the appetite for a huge, huge swing beyond just resigning Lamar. But, you don't know. This is just a new era for Ravens football. I think Eric DeCosta needs to find some goodwill, and I don't know if another kind of workmanlike 11-man draft class, in April is really going to do that.
Jonas, it's going to be interesting to see because, agents talk to other teams and stuff, so what's going to be interesting to see if you see Eric having a hard time signing the Ricards and the Kohlers and stuff, then, they get the free agency, and then you got Cleveland, you got the Giants. That's the issue. That's the biggest issue that Eric's going to have this offseason is do these guys, if their agents say, hey, wait, you're going to get more money, and it's going to cost Eric more, I would think, to sign those guys this year because of Harbs and Todd.
Yeah, and I think in cases like that, you are betting on the culture. You're betting on the possibility of a Super Bowl win or a playoff run. I mean, Ronnie Stanley came awfully close to going to free agency where he would have gotten paid more than what he got from the Ravens, but he was happy to take a little bit of a haircut because he wanted to be back in Baltimore. He liked the coaching staff. He loved his teammates. So, this is just a situation where you are betting on things not having gotten so toxic, and you're betting on the equity that you come to invest in these players, hopefully coming back to you and being able to let you take care of business before you get to March 9th. Because if you get to March 9th and you really haven't done any of your homework, it's going to be a long, long night.
Jonas, last thing for you, who you got this Sunday? Super Bowl, Seattle against the Patriots. Obviously, we know what the AFC looked like this year, especially in the postseason. No Baltimore Ravens, no Kansas City Chiefs. New England ends up being the last team standing in the AFC. Do you think they get it done against the Seahawks?
No, I mean, it's just like pretty much everyone who's a Ravens fan. I'm not a Ravens fan, but as someone who's a Mike McDonald fan, I'm probably bet on Seattle. Just think that it's going to be very, very tough for New England to run the ball. I think certainly Drake May could make some plays happen out of structure, but as long as Eamon Warrior is close to 100%, and I guess that is the big question mark right there. I feel really good about what they can do defensively, and then I think just with what Kubiak is cooking there, and with JSN probably being able to get away from Christian Gonzalez enough times to make a couple explosive plays, the way that Kenneth Walker has been running, the way the offensive line has been blocking. I just think that there is a higher floor and a higher ceiling for them going into this one. So I think that Seattle by anywhere from 4 to 7 points probably makes sense for me. But if Sam Darnold gets that bozo in him again, then it definitely would not shock me if the Patriots win this relatively comfortably either.
Jonas, appreciate your time this morning. How can people keep up with you and follow your work?
Yeah, just follow me on Twitter and banner.com. Got a Jesse Minter feature coming on Monday, so be on the lookout for that.